there is no, and don't get me wrong, to this day, there's so many things I can't relate to. But it's not always about relating. It's about bringing the gospel to people who need it, who need Jesus.
Anyone can do this, but not everyone will.
Hi, I'm Sam Moore. I have been with Vagabond Missions for 4 years now and volunteered for 2 years. Literally, where we serve is 10 minutes from where I grew up. 10 minutes, maybe even less if you're going pretty quick. And growing up, I was told, don't be in those neighborhoods at night. There's no reason to be over there. But the realization, and we'll get to that more, is that these are my neighbors. When God tells us to love our neighbors, these are the people right there in our cities. This story is, I went to Catholic schools, like I said, and I was discerning becoming a priest, and I went to seminary, and we have this house of formation that I lived at my year out of high school. Yeah, I was there, and I was assigned my apostolate to serve with Vagabond Missions. I went to the youth center, right? It was their big youth group night. Tuesday nights, they invite anyone who wants to come, any of the young people at the schools that want to come. And I went in, rap music playing really loud in there. They had pizza. There was 4 missionaries, and I go in there, and I'm kind of awkward, and these teens come from a way different background than I was used to, where they had seen gang violence. They knew people with drug addictions, and a lot of broken homes. Just a very different background than I was used to. And I remember going in there like, how do I even relate to these people? And it's crazy. 10 minutes from my house, 10 minutes from where I grew up, but a completely different world, or at least that's how I felt in that moment. And I remember it being the night of the week, serving there at that breakout night. That's what we call the big youth group night. That I would both dread of wow, that is the most uncomfortable I've been all week. I'm I don't even know how to talk to these people, and I have to help out, and I had a very basic role of just serving food. And yeah, I was I don't even know how to have a conversation, but I remember feeling oh, this is one of the most important parts of my week. And I was don't know why exactly that was, but I think part of it was this is such a tangible way to spread the gospel. So that following year, I had discerned out of seminary, and I started volunteering again. It was COVID. It was right after COVID had the big lockdowns. Things were kind of lightening up, and they started having programming again, and I started volunteering again at the East Side, and there was 2 nights that made me really want to join. And now the first one was crazy. Big youth group night, probably 40 to 50 people. People just walking around, chatting, going all over. A lot of the missionaries felt a little on edge. It just felt like a weird night, like something was off. One teen started wanting to beat up another teen, and it was a gang-related thing from bad blood from years prior. I don't know the full context of it all, but it was something that the missionaries didn't expect. They didn't see coming that night, and we didn't know this baggage that had happened in the past with these teens. And it was just, I think I went home, and it was the police had been called, got all the teens home, and it was just a crazy night, and my adrenaline was pumping. And I think part of me was wow, that was the biggest rush ever. And then another part of me was wow, the need is here. The need is here, right here in my own town. Where I grew up, these people need to know the gospel. And then the second night, I was given this goal from the area director at the time, Andy Sheree. He said, okay, so you're interested in being a missionary. He's here's your goal. When you go into the youth group nights, just meet 3 new teens, right? Just get their names, and then ask them the next week, remember their names, ask them the next week about school, just basic conversation skills. Nothing crazy. Just be there and be present and know them and be interested. And so I go in, and this teen that I had talked to so many times immediately runs up to me, grabs me by the hand, and he's let's play Mario Kart. And I'm oh shoot, I have a goal tonight, and I'm gonna be playing Mario Kart with this guy the whole time. And I'm sitting there and he's telling me about his day. It was really stressful. His family was moving and he was watching the kids and his parents didn't see that. He was stressed and they were yelling at him and he was like, I'm trying to take care of your kids. And it was like this really, really stressful day for him. Meanwhile, me holding the controller is trying to hand it off to anyone walking by. Like, hey, do you want to play? And they're like, nah, I'm good. And I'm like, shoot, I'm still going to be playing Mario Kart here. And I hear up front, one of the missionaries goes, okay, guys, everybody move up. We're going to have some upfront games. And I'm like, shoot, my opportunity to meet new teens is going to pass me by this night because we're going to have the talk about Jesus and then everyone's going to head home. And he turns to me, the teen that was telling me all about his day, and he looks at me and he goes, Sam, I really needed this tonight. And I was like, oh, I was anywhere but here. This is what was internally happening inside me. I was like, I was anywhere but right here with you. And you're the one who needed me. You're the one that the Lord wanted me to be with. I was blessed to become a missionary that following year. And then the year after that, I was blessed to stand behind him. That teen that I chatted with that night, that I listened to that night, stand behind him as he got baptized, and he's my godson. I came from a completely different background from a lot of the people we serve. The only thing that we really had in common was Wichita, but even that was like such a different experience. But the fact is, God has given us personhood and just our human dignity and our human experience, and that always relates. And the fact is, Christ came from a completely different background than his people until he joined them, until he walked with them. And that's kind of what Vagabond strives to do. And there is no, and don't get me wrong, to this day, there's so many things I can't relate to. But it's not always about relating. It's about bringing the gospel to people who need it, who need Jesus. When I hear honest, it's usually the things people want to hide are the hard parts. And that's one thing that I think is so true with mission, is that it isn't glamorous. And it isn't clear cut on like how it's done. Like we have kind of like our methodology of like, okay, we're going to have a youth center and we'll invite people to it. We'll go out and meet them at the schools. And you know, like just like these basic things. But the fact is, when you meet people and it's like, oh, I had this great plan of like, I'm going to give this 5-minute spiel at the end of our youth group night. And people will just be like, yes, I want to get baptized. I want to be a part of the faith. And it's not like that. It's not like this crazy, like there are these little or big exciting moments, of course, where there's miraculous conversion. But day to day, a lot of times it's spending life with these teens that need people in their lives, that need mentors, that need people that can show them a different life is possible, that a life of faith is a joyful life. So there is one of the teens that we minister to, he's graduated now. So he no longer attends our events, but I'm still friends with him and we'll meet up every few weeks to chat. And I remember so many nights where we would have, I remember one specific Bible study. We had like probably 10 teens there. We had a nice home-cooked meal and it was a total bust. Like, I don't think there was, a lot of questions were asked, but did we get to many of them? No, not really. There was a lot of lively discussion about off-topic things. And we had spent 2 hours with these teens, gave them a meal, which was good. But I don't think much of the gospel seemed to be conveyed in that moment. And I remember thinking, as we're driving people home in the underground van, like, oh, shoot, well, hopefully it goes better next week. And I remember this guy who comes to everything, he goes, drop me off last. Anyway, so finally it dropped everyone else off and I pull up in front of his house and he's about to get out and he just asks me, how do we know that what the Bible teaches is true? And he just kind of went through one by one and a whole bunch of other questions too. All the questions that we had brought up in Bible study that we didn't get to. And he was holding on to them and he wanted to ask those questions in that moment. And he just waited till it was just with me to chat about it. And it's so crazy. It's like, that was one of those moments where I'm like, wow, the faith is being sparked in him. Like that he has this curiosity about the Lord and about the sacraments and the church and the scriptures. we all have our different ways of learning about these things and our different interests. And he just wanted to have a conversation with one person rather than the group setting. And it's not as like, we want to see like mass conversion. Like that's always the exciting thing. Like we think of like Peter preaching after the descent of the Holy Spirit and at Pentecost, and he's like converting 5,000 people by his speech. And that's glorious and wonderful. And it's amazing that the Holy Spirit does stuff like that. But day to day, a lot of times it's these little conversations and these one-on-one moments that we get to have with people that are thirsting for the gospel, that are thirsting for Christ, that change hearts. A huge gift from Vagabond, which has been huge, is a lot of my friends I have met in Vagabond, or I've seen join Vagabond because they saw like beautiful community in it. And then second, I met my wife doing Vagabond, and that was just an amazing gift, of course, and has really built my primary community in a lot of ways. We are still like lifelong connected to some of these teens that we serve. Some of the ones that we met when we were serving that are now graduated in different parts of the city and in different kind of moments, we get to still walk with them. My wife got to drive one of the girls to a job interview just this week, got to have lunch with my godson. Just a total blessing that it's like an opportunity for lifelong ministry within Vagabond, and then also just the gift of friendship. I think one thing I particularly love about Vagabond Missions is it really is about the service to the poor. It's about the gospel. It's about bringing the gospel to them. There's a lot of missions that serve a lot of material needs, which is good, very, very good and important. And we rely on them too, in a lot of ways. But if we don't give people the gospel, it just doesn't matter, because you can be the richest man in the world or have absolutely nothing. But if you don't have Christ, like there's still no chance of heaven. Like you need Christ. So the greatest gift you can give someone is an opportunity for prayer, an opportunity for Christ and his church and the sacraments. And that's what Vagabond Missions I've seen to be about, is bringing that gospel to everyone that we meet. And there's a lot of missions that are about missionary formation, and that's a great thing. And there's formation for our missionaries as well. But that is not the primary goal. Like the primary goal is to spread the gospel. Okay, that's all I got.
Awesome, thank you.
Boom.
Really good.
I hope you got some good material.
I do. You're an excellent storyteller.